Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at ARM holdings. It is time for another update, and previously in the last video I have provided to you this white support zone for a potential trade setup, as we had managed to identify an initial 5-way move to the upside, which was strongly suggesting that after a 3-wave correction into this support zone we can expect with high probabilities at least another 5-way move to the upside. And the structure that then followed succeeded in taking us to significantly higher prices. This was a successful trade setup after all, even though the structure itself seems to have failed to create a 5-wave pattern. I likely have to assume that this would have been a distortion if we want to still be able to track this as a motive wave or as part of a motive wave, meaning that if we want to consider this part of the uptrend and not an overshoot within a larger correction, I have to assume a distortion to have taken place here, where we basically missed creating here a wave 4 and a wave 5. Technically, we may still be able to even track it as a 5-wave pattern, even like this. Doesn't matter too much, but unfortunately, this paired with the fact that we haven't managed to create too satisfactory of a wave 5, we have barely formed a higher high. Well, this actually complicates the structure. This actually makes the chart more difficult to read and to trust, things which I will explain in a moment. But before we get into those details, let's take a step back. Take a look at the larger time frame, provide the context, and then we will draw the full picture. So, on the larger time frame, we have been tracking two main scenarios. We've had the white scenario and the yellow scenario. We have already shared in the previous video that the yellow scenario is a quite unlikely path to still be taken, because this structure would be expected to be building an impulse. Technically could still work out, but I would really need this last move to the upside to be instead a wave 1, build now a wave 2 correction, and then take off pretty aggressively within a wave 3 that would then be expected to even far exceed any targets we would have for this structure. So overall, I do not really have a lot of faith in this pattern. I might even prefer to be hiding this interpretation for now and focus on the white structure instead, where all we really expect here is to build instead an ABC pattern. And this can be significantly more realistic, as within the wave C we can build an ending diagonal, meaning that the wave 3 could have even topped and we could be looking at the larger wave 4 correction to take place, and then a wave 5 that would complete the larger wave C, that would then in turn complete the larger wave A. Overall, even the white scenario is not bearish. We would still be looking to extend to significantly higher prices, and long term, this chart could even build a 5-wave pattern. We could be looking at a wave 3 on the larger scale to eventually take place within this interpretation, but we would also need to be prepared for a possibly quite significant correction within a wave B to form before we actually complete this as a larger wave 3. Now, this could also take a quite significant amount of time. We could see this take even a few years overall. So for now, let's actually focus on the internal structure. Let's actually focus on this movement to the upside. So previously, we have been looking at a potential wave C to be taking place in this structure that would complete the wave C of this wave 3, right? The blue wave C we have here, that would allow a larger wave 4 correction to be taking place. All we needed for this to be considered done is actually an ABC structure that would take us to new all-time highs. As shown in the beginning of the video, this can be considered done. We really do not need any further extensions technically within this as a wave 5 to consider the larger wave C complete, which takes me to the point where I am warning that there is a good chance we would see the larger wave 4 correction in white take place at this point, which would be expected to retrace to at least the 23.6% retracement, which sits at $199.8. We would typically expect to reach this area of support. I would also typically expect for this wave 4 to be a little bit larger if it really is to take place, and that means we wouldn't have bottomed just yet, but instead we can expect a larger correction, similar in proportions with what we would have here within a wave 1. So in essence, this wave 1 has taken like, what is it? About a month, 26 trading days. Well, I could expect a similar duration for this as a wave 4, potentially even a bit larger. Keep in mind, since this structure is quite difficult though, we might even need to consider the wave 1 to have topped here, in which case we could expect a slightly advanced timeline, but even in that scenario, I would still be looking for a larger correction where, yeah, we could still see it take 1 or 2 more weeks even. Now, keep in mind that these timelines are my vision for a potential wave 4 in white. If we are to follow through within a different structure, like the blue scenario that would still allow one more high, we can expect the bottom to actually be in place. We do not really need to extend even further. And if I am to show you internal levels of support I would be tracking for such a wave B in blue, I would actually expect it to have already bottomed because we have already even pushed below the 78.6% retracement, and this would be suggesting one more high. Why haven't I started with this interpretation? Well, it is because this is not a reliable pattern. This is not a trade setup in my opinion, because we only have 3 waves up, which is not providing me an edge in looking for a trade setup the same way we have identified in the initial 5-wave move to the upside. Now, we also have to consider that other scenarios are possible, but this is my most preferred path forward. To be honest, I probably even still prefer this one more high within a wave C in the blue structure. It's just that, based on the theory, it would fit better as a wave 5 within the larger picture. It's just that, based on the theory alone, I do not have any strong conviction that it will succeed in forming this additional high. But for the purposes of simplicity, we can actually still track one more high against the current wave below, where if I get a sustained break below it at $201, well, it would be a rather strong indication that either this wave 4 in white is taking charge, or potentially something along this idea of a larger correction. Because once again, this chart remains quite difficult, the structure is quite complex, and if we want more reliable trade setups, at least for this chart, we would have to be a little bit more patient. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and if you enjoyed the content and want to support it directly, check out the channel membership, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.